Hi, you're watching Riding with Marshall, and today I'm going to show you how to put a V8 into a Goldwing. You ready? Let's do this. You take a V8 and you put it right here. Hey, this is Marshall, and we are here at Thunder Mountain Harley Davidson in Loveland, Colorado. This place is huge, and if you're looking for boots, gloves, jackets, shirts, jeans, bells for your bike, this is the one store that I know of that carries all of that for Harley Davidson, plus the largest selection of bikes that I know of in northern Colorado. So it sounds like a commercial, but I'm just telling the truth here. Today, I've got a sales rep. His name is Gio Diaz, and he is right here.
What's going on, guys? Giovanni here. We're out here showing off the 2019 Fat Bob. It's a fresh trade-in, so we're looking at just under 15,000 miles on this one. But the interesting part about this bike, if you want to come lower, this bike has been 114 to 117 full conversion, so it's no longer rocking the Milwaukee-Eight 114. We're looking at a completely brand new transition to that, and that being the 117. So this trade-in came in about a week ago. My good buddy Marshall strolled in and he said he's all interested on it. So I can't wait for him to get out and rip this thing up. This thing will come up in second or third gear easily on one wheel, so be careful with that. Outside of that, the thing's a machine, and the dude who traded it in is, I'm almost positive he was very excited to see it go. So
now these are straight pipes?
Short shots, Vance and Hines, I believe.
Oh, okay, so they are actually legal then. I'm not going to get pulled over by that state patrol that was pulled over right over there a second ago. So, wow, this bike is so black, you can't see it. Let me zoom in a little bit and show that 117. Now, for those watching that don't know what 117 cubic inches is, that's 1826 cc's, right?
I believe so.
So it took Harley a little while, but they finally got a engine bigger. It's an engine bigger than the Goldwing. The Goldwing is just over 1800 cc's, and so is this Screaming Eagle 117. I've ridden a few of these, and on the bikes like this one that aren't detuned, they're hideously fast. The 2019 Harley Davidson Softail Fat Bob was a departure from the usual chrome cruiser class. It was meant to look badass, but in a modern way. The fat tires and bobbed rear fender spring from the old heritage, but the LED horizontal headlight tells you this isn't your grandpa's barn classic. Hear anything else. Just listen to that exhaust note. It stirs the soul, doesn't it? So Giovanni is letting me lead on this one while he follows on his Sportster 1200.
That thing is so big.
The factory model came with a Milwaukee-Eight 107 cubic inch engine, and for a bunch more money, the 114. The guy who traded in this bike put in the top V-twin available, the 117. So, what is a Milwaukee-Eight engine anyway? Is that just another fancy name for the same twin cams that the motor company has been selling for decades? Not so!
In 2016, the motor company launched its third all-new big twin in 80 years, completely modifying the engine to be more reliable, fuel-friendly, and to not shake itself apart at red lights. Seriously, you could use some twin cams to shake paint if needed. The new Milwaukee-Eight has 4 valves per cylinder, so doing the rocket science math here, that's 4 squared 16 cosine divided by 2, carry the 8 valves. Could that be what they mean by Milwaukee-Eight? Yes, and it doesn't stop just at the valves though. They went back to a single cam, added counterbalancers to keep the vibration from shaking the metal out of the machine and the teeth of its rider, improved the water cooling of the older designs to give us an engine with 10% more torque and acceleration while using less fuel. It's also 100 degrees cooler in its exhaust gases, meaning it's more comfortable to ride on a hot day. Still, there are old men out there whining about the improvements, as some always will. Not this guy though. I like a little bit of vibration, but there are some older CVOs you couldn't give me if you wanted to. I'm a huge fan of the new Milwaukee-Eight engine though.
This is nice. All right.
The clutch pull on this bike was very reasonable. I wouldn't complain or even change it. The friction point was about halfway through the travel. I might look at moving that a little closer to the bars, but I can live with halfway through the travel. And I would say Harley's come a long way since just a decade ago when it could vary from one street glide to the next how hard the clutch was to pull back. Now, am I whining about how hard a clutch can be to pull back? Well, get in some stop and go traffic and see how fast your hand wears out. I've walked away from bikes I was interested in because the clutch pull was just insanely hard to pull back. A good test for clutch pull is try to pull a clutch back 20 times in a row while the bike is off, and see if your hand tires from that. This bike will be just fine. With the fat tires, the turn-in can be a little stiff, but it's really not bad at all, and it's a shorter wheelbase than most of the cruisers, so going around corners and doing turns, the Fat Bob is actually a lot more nimble than some of the bigger bikes. Now I point out the cop here because there's something we're not doing correct in our test ride, and I'm not going to specify what it is.
Better go.
It's not a typical test ride though, so we're going to head back to base as fast as possible without breaking any rules. This view to the right is one of the reasons why I love riding in Colorado. So although my feet are out in front of me, they're not way out in front of me, not to the point where I feel like I don't have control of my weight, as a certain bike I once rode I didn't like, called a V-Rod. I felt very much folded in half. This bike I did not feel as folded in half as that. Ergonomics are great on a Fat Bob, and I overall enjoyed this ride on the Fat Bob. It had plenty of power, of course, with that 117. The braking was great. There's been strides in the brakes of Harleys over the last dozen years or so. Really, I have no complaints. The windshield might have been a little nice, but it is what it is.
This is one badass ride. Let's take a look at this. Turn signals, mirrors, and a Bluetooth speaker, it looks like. But, wow. Plenty of torque. And there's the radiator, which means the engine will last longer than 70,000 miles.
How'd the seat treat you, Marshall?
Oh, the seat was nice.
Did it help you out?
The seat was wonderful. I had no trouble with the seat. The ride height was good. Ergonomics was good. A little bit of stretch up here, but that's what you want for a badass machine. So, yeah, nice bike.
So would I buy this tricked out Fat Bob? I can't even begin to tell you the temptation I still have about doing just that. Anyway, this has been Marshall, and you know what I'm going to say. Keep your chin up in the curves of the road and in the curves of life.